Hello, this is Seamus McDonald and it is March 8, 2019. In this update number 4 for the build of Scamp Sailboat number 459, we're going to talk about the mast trunk. So as you can see, we've set up the mast trunk on the workbench here, and what we're going to do is to do a trial fit of the mast into the mast trunk, because we want to make sure that the mast fits in the mast trunk before we take the trunk and glue it into the boat proper. We've decided to use an aluminum mast instead of the wood mast that is recommended in the manual. We purchased our aluminum mast from Gig Harbor Boat Works. And Gig Harbor Boat Works do a fiberglass version of the Scamp Sailboat, and that comes with an aluminum mast. So the mast itself is 16 foot long. And the nice thing about the aluminum mast is it comes in 2 halves, which is really great for storage purposes. What you're looking at here is the bottom half of the mast. So when we did our trial fit to the mast trunk, we found that this mast block was too large to fit in the mast trunk. So what we did is we moved the mast block from the mast, and we trimmed it and shaped it to fit the mast trunk. So one of the other things we realized is that the aluminum mast is designed to fit in a permanent mast step in the fiberglass boat. And we realized that that isn't going to work for the wood mast trunk or for the wood boat. So what the wood boat needs is it needs 2 of these mast blocks. One at the top of the mast trunk and one at the bottom of the mast trunk. And so we've recently placed an order for 1 more of these mast blocks with Gig Harbor Boat Works. And when it arrives, we'll trim it to shape and we'll fit it to the bottom of the mast, and we should be all set to go. Okay. The next step is to glue the mast trunk into the boat. As you can see, the mast trunk is located just forward of bulkhead number 3. Now, as we talked about, the mast itself is 16 foot long and it's a freestanding mast. So by freestanding, we mean that it's not supported by any stays or shrouds. It is totally relying on its tight fit in the mast trunk. So the mast trunk must be robust enough to resist the pressures that a fully loaded sailing mast is going to put on it. So we'll be paying special attention to how we reinforce this mast trunk to resist those pressures. So for the outside corners, when we glue them together, we're going to add an additional glass fiber tape to the outside corners, and we'll be putting that on here, and that will give quite a bit of additional reinforcing. On the inside of this corner, we will fillet it. So we've talked about how we do fillets earlier. And when that fillet dries, then we'll add on the inside some of this glass fiber tape as well to give additional reinforcing. So here you can see the inside of the mast trunk, and we've elected to temporarily leave out one side of the mast trunk, and that will give us easier access to the inside corners here for doing the filleting and taping. So when one side dries up, we'll install the final side, that's the port side, and to access the final corners, we do that through a small slit in bulkhead number 3. So as you can see, this is going to be a real tricky piece of work, and we've elected to do the port side last, because that favors a person who's right-handed doing the work.